What's going on everyone? How are you guys doing today? It's Note here and welcome back to another 2 video. And in today's video we're going to be talking about scout rifles. What are the best scout rifles right now to use in the Crucible? So today we're talking about scout rifles just because of Randy's throwing knife, the ritual weapon for this season. I know a couple of you guys might be going for Randy's throwing knife, so this video is for you guys. We're going to be going over the best scout rifles to use right now. They're going to help you get the most progress on your Randy's throwing knife. And also we're gonna go over some just general tips on how to use scout rifles effectively in the Crucible. And what are the best maps that you should be slapping on a scout rifle for. But anyways, let's get started with first talking about the scout rifles you should be using. The very first set of scout rifles that we're gonna be talking about are the 200 RPM lightweight scout rifles. These are things like the Night Watch, the Mida, and other of the 200 RPM ones, but we're gonna be mostly focusing on Night Watch and Mida. Mida for our exotic pick, and the Night Watch for our legendary pick. And I love the 200 RPM scout rifles. These ones are my favorite class of scout rifle, is the one that I use the most, and actually the one that got me most of my progress for Randy's. Most of the time I was running around with a Night Watch, because my god, that weapon feels good. It's just such a good weapon. So I like the 200 RPM scout rifles for a couple of reasons. The first one is that you can pretty much use the scout rifles on any map that you get. They're good at close range, they're good at long range, and medium range, which is their home territory where they perform the best, is really where they shine. But at long range and at close range, they can still work pretty good. They won't be the best at long range and close range, you usually want to stick to medium range, but they can still work, they can still get kills, and you don't feel like you're a super huge disadvantage like you may feel with some of the other scout rifles. The next thing that I really like about these scouts is just their damage. They do 44 damage to the head per shot, which means that it's usually gonna take around 4 headshots to kill someone. Or if they're low armor, they'll just require 3 headshots and a body shot, and you'll be able to kill them. And I know 4 headshots doesn't sound like the best thing, but when you're shooting a scout rifle at 200 RPM and it's super accurate, you find yourself hitting those headshots just super often. And the final thing that I just love about these scout rifles is just how quick and snappy they feel. The lightweight frames, so you're going to have increased movement speed, and you are also going to have some pretty high handling. And they do. Both the Mida and the Night Watch just feel amazing. They are some of the best healing weapons in the game. I really like using them. So naturally, our exotic recommendation is going to be the Mida. If you're not using an exotic and you want to slap on a good exotic scout rifle, you can never go wrong with the Mida. It's really good. You guys have probably seen it all over the place because it really is everywhere. But if you don't want to use your exotic slap on the scout rifle, then you can go for the Night Watch. You get this one from Gambit Prime or Reckoning. They actually seem to drop pretty often, and it's really nice. Some of the perks that you should be looking for on this weapon that are gonna make it even better are explosive rounds, just to increase flinch on your enemies. Makes it harder for other people to shoot you back if they're trying to shoot you back with a scout or a sniper. Or you can also go for multi-kill kill clip, which is gonna make this weapon from a 4-shot to kill to the head to a 3-shot to kill to the head. It's just amazing when you have multi-kill kill clip, just 3-tapping people with a 200. It's disgusting. It really is. That's pretty much what you have been watching in the background. Me just running around with my multi-kill kill clip Night Watch, and yeah, it gives you a lot of progress. Let's just say that. But the 200 RPM scout rifles are great scout rifles. You can use them in their preferred range, which is medium range, but you can still get away with using a close range and a long range. Use that, they won't be effective as maybe some other scout rifles. And speaking about long range, that actually takes us to our next scout rifles, the 150s. And it would be a disservice not to actually mention the J-Rabbit and the Polaris Lance. And I like these two weapons for their high damage, high range, and just ridiculous, I really do mean ridiculous stability. These things are so stable, you don't really have to worry about the recoil, no matter at what range you are. They're just super stable, and as long as you can land those 3 headshots, you're gonna get a lot, and I really do mean a lot of kills. You can do full damage at points where people can't even touch you with their weapons. And because of that range, that's why you always want to use them in the long range maps. When somebody rushes you, it gets pretty tough because of their slow rate of fire, so you definitely don't want to get close to someone. So always make sure that you have 150 with you for whenever one of those long range maps pop up in the playlist. For the exotic recommendation, we're gonna go with the J Rabbit and the Polaris Lance. It's pretty much up to your preference. They're both really good. They're both very similar. A lot of range, a lot of damage. The only difference is what slot you want to run your scout on. Is it the kinetic? Go with J Rabbit. Is it the energy? Go with the Polaris. It just depends what's gonna be your other weapon, I guess. For the legendary, I would definitely recommend the Mini Polaris, aka the Braid Tech. This one is just basically the Polaris without the exotic perk, which in PvP you don't really use the exotic perk that often. Sometimes it gets 2 kills, but most of the time you won't be able to actually utilize it. So that's why I say that the legendary Polaris, the Braid Tech, can actually be a pretty nice substitute if you don't want to use your exotic stat on one of the exotic ones. Okay, so we covered scout rifles for the long range, we covered scout rifles for the mid range. Now let's talk about those scout rifles that you can use a little bit more up close. And we're going to be talking about the rapid fire frames, the 260 scout rifles. And for some reason, people sometimes forget the scout rifles even exist. And I don't know why, because they're actually pretty good. Especially something like the Black Scorpion, which is going to be our pick. Currently, there's no exotic for this type of scout rifles, so we're just going to be taking a look at the legendary Black Scorpion. Because I think it's the only one year 2 rapid fire frame can actually get. At least, you know, all the time. And you can get this scout rifle from the gunsmith. You turn in some materials, and you have a chance of getting it. With these scout rifles, you're going to want to stick to medium and close range, since that's where you get the most of these scout rifles. These ones are usually going to take 5 shots to kill someone, which is going to be 4 headshots on one body. But thanks to the high rate of fire on the weapon and the just crazy stability these weapons have, as well as the intrinsic perk allowing these weapons to be fire and fuado, makes this weapon actually feel a lot better than they probably should. And actually making them kill pretty fast, as long as you keep hitting headshots. That's the thing with all the scout rifles, that you have to hit headshots. If you start missing some headshots, then the time to kill in the scout rifles is just going to skyrocket. Since they are made to be precision weapons, you have to hit headshots with the scout rifles. But as long as you're hitting a lot of headshots, you're gonna find this thing just melts people. It really just destroys people. People are not expecting the damage you're about to hit them with the Black Scorpion. People really underestimate your damage. So they get really surprised when you pop out of cover, hit them with a couple headshots, and they're dead before they could even react. Which makes it even harder to believe that you barely see these types of scout rifles, especially considering how many close range maps we have in the game. You would think the scout rifles would be running just all over the place, but I guess not. So the one I was running here had high impact reserves. If you get one with high impact reserves, it actually makes this weapon be able to 4-shot people to the head, as long as you get the extra damage from high impact reserves. So that's definitely a perk that I recommend, as well as rangefinder. Moving target is really good on the scout rifles. Since you're going to be aiming down sights and just full autoing the weapon, you want something like moving target to make sure that you're able to sidestep some of the enemy shots, as well as, you know, grant you some extra target acquisition. So rangefinder, high impact reserves, and moving target are definitely very good perks that you can get on this weapon that you should definitely be looking for. But even if you don't get any of those perks, use the base weapon, the base Black Scorpion. It's really good. You should definitely not sleep on the Scorpion. If you find yourself in some of the close range maps, this might be the weapon to go to. And remember, you still do have a scout rifle, so do not be afraid to get it yourself in some of the mid-range fights, because you will probably win them too. Thanks to your rate of fire, your stability, and just your overall damage that you output, you're probably going to beat the hand cannon or other scout rifle user. Okay, so now let's talk about using scout rifles, and there's only one real thing that I want to talk to you guys about using scout rifles that's going to completely change your experience, which is use your scout rifle where it's supposed to be used. And I know it sounds like quite a basic thing, but you gotta make sure that you're always in your preferred range for your scout rifle. If you have a J Rabbit, you want to be far away from everyone else. If you have a Mida or a Night Watch, you want to stay mid-range, but you can still venture out into some close and long-range engagements. And if you have a Black Scorpion, you could definitely get closer to people, You still don't want to be right in front of them because it is still a scout rifle, but you can definitely get closer than you could with some of the other scouts. And I'm just saying this because I know a lot of times all of us actually forget what we're doing and we end up in a bad situation with a scout rifle. So when you're playing with a scout, always keep in mind, am I in the right range for this scout rifle? And if the answer is no, change position and go to another place where you are actually in the range for the scout rifle, where you can maximize the amount of kills that you're going to be getting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But like I said, I know it happens. I'm pretty sure it's happened a bunch in the gameplay in the background where I got myself in a situation with a scout rifle where I definitely shouldn't have been there. Sometimes it will work out and I will actually come out on top, but sometimes you just die to stupid deaths to shotguns because you were in a place you were not supposed to be. But anyways, with that, we're gonna end today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. If you guys have any more questions about Randy's throwing knife or use the Crucible in general, especially with the mods, I know there's a lot of confusion with the mods going around, just ask them down in the comments below and I'll see if I can answer it for you. Anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.